Imagine this. It's April 2025. As a joke, you roll a 10 dice. Whatever number it's landed on, you will play the hardest X level. You try the level out, and shockingly, you actually beat it. You continue rolling the dice until suddenly, you are one level away from beating off the top 10 hardest levels. Except, someone beats a new top 10 right before you finish your quest. Hi, I am Milan, the best challenge player in UCH. And the scenario I just described you actually happened to me. Unfortunately, I simply gave up even though I knew a chance like this would never happen again. Or so I thought. Let's skip over a year. It's April 2026, and to my surprise, I was indeed given a second chance. But not only that, does the former top 10 I beat being moved down, I could beat more than just the top 10. Let's check the list. Here we can see that most of the former top 10 is down here within the top 15 and 25 range. Since beating the former top 10 I've also been improving, the only major threats are within the top 10 range. However, I already beat Stargazing, the current hardest level in the game ever beaten, and Magic, the second hardest. In fact, the whole top 10, except for one level, and it's the hardest of its skill sets. One I'm particularly really bad at. Its name? Roving Ground. From the clips you saw, you can see that Proving Grounds bases itself a lot around spikes, a gameplay style also known as precision. Thing is, precision is really action-based, and if that wasn't enough, you also need to react to how your character ends up after no setups as well. Reaction-based levels, or precision in general, is for sure the one where we think. Part of it is how you need to use non-sprint turnaround. To perform it, you need to stop sprinting before you turn around, then repress sprint immediately after you turn around. Doing this will make you turn around way faster, which allows precision to be more consistent as long as you don't mess up the NST. However, for this level I want to do a perfect NST, which requires you to repress sprint within 3 frames. Perfect NSTs alone aren't too bad. However, in precision setups, you need to react when you even shoot NST. Doing both at the same time should be hard. For example, doing the NST right here is optimal, however, reacting to that in real time is way harder. The fact that this was the skill set requires and has a little to no practice almost made me immediately give up. However, instead of giving up like I did last time, I instead went to practice precision for some time, so I could come back to Proving Grounds later. A month comes by, and after beating Tidal Darn, I am finally ready to attempt Proving Grounds. Progress was going good, I was cutting roughly halfway a lot, but never passed it. Why? This setup. I've seen its exact setup so many times, yet I could never get completed it. Here you need to avoid the wall and spring by going through the middle, but then you need to do a wall jump. For this setup, there's 2 ways our characters can end up at the wall. The first way is by perfectly fitting the middle. Then you have to wall jump as fast as possible to not die to the wire below. However, you can get stuck on the corner of the left wall if you get absurdly close to it. If you get stuck on the corner, you have to wait to wall jump, else you will hit the spring and get balls to the warrior. For now, I figured it might be better to just try to get stuck in the corner, since it seemed to be slightly more consistent. Afterwards, I figured that I could try to react to it if I did a really small jump, since I was being able to in practice. I wasn't too sure if it would work in a real run, but I enforced this anyway. Finally, I was able to get some runs to the bridge after practicing this setup a lot. I was relieved, as in my mind I could get to the bridge as much as I would like, as each attempt had a realistic chance to beat the level, even if I didn't practice the bridge and to the end anymore. Then on May 10th, something insane happened. that was really unexpected. The first 3 attempts at Costa Bridge all had to die to the first jump in it. These attempts not only made it past the bridge, but also made it all the way to the last jump. Out of nerves from that fluke, I choked the bridge at the end. However, that didn't stop me. In fact, I wasn't really motivated to play the level much before, but since I got that spiral once, I already knew that I could get that far again. And especially knowing that Lexi could beat a new top 25 any second now. When I especially didn't want to play, I knew I had to play at my best more than ever. I shortly realized that my strategy for this setup wasn't quite good, so I started realizing on aiming to go perfectly in the middle. Then I also realized that at some point I started doing the wrong alignment for this jump. This jump requires near frame perfect inputs, so an alignment was crucial. After I adapted to these new strategies, improvement showed quickly. I played for 6 hours straight for each of the following 2 days. You could say that maybe I wasn't feeling too well. But I really didn't want to fail my journey at the last second again. A journey I started over a year ago. It had to happen now. I didn't want to know what would happen if I had to lose almost all my progress again. So even though I had died to the last jump again, I knew I had to keep going. Only not fucking goat. I fucking did it. I fucking did it. It's fucking over. The whole top 24 speed. But wait, this isn't over yet, because starting at June, things are gonna start to heat up again, and you don't wanna miss it.